Hi guys, welcome back to another Prepar3d version 5 video. Today we'll be flying the freeware KBT Electra L-188. So we're continuing a bit on our Lockheed series of civilian aircraft. And this is a bit of an odd one. As I said, it's a freeware, right? But this, and I think it's originally released for like FSX 10 years ago. This is a revamped version that's gotten like PBR treatment, and it looks pretty good. This is the cargo version, and I found this sliver just online for the old FSX version, so I converted it. I wanted to do a flight here from Oslo Airport to Scandinavian Mountains Airport in Sweden. I doubt a cargo flight would go from Oslo there, but you know, stranger things happened. I thought it would be a fun pairing to try. So yeah, and probably a pretty solid like distance, not too long. So to just kind of showcase this aircraft, and I think in relation to the outside, let's see if we have any good. I mean, it looks pretty decent for a freeware. It's nothing crazy, but I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that this is the best you'll get in terms of Electra's L-188 in any sim. I don't think there's anything better that has been released, which is a bit sad because it's quite an iconic aircraft in being the first large turboprop civilian airliner built in the US, and also in terms of you know, the success with was it the Orion version of it? This one only sold in like 170. There were some crashes, right? But yeah, it's an interesting aircraft, an interesting history, still continuing today with Buffalo Airways and other airlines flying it mainly for cargo ops. Don't think there's any passenger routes left, at least to my knowledge. And this Fred Olson company was an old Norwegian cargo company that flew back in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, and then 90s, I think. So quite interesting. I actually have two different liveries for it, but I thought that I would take the older version, the 1970s version. I have a 1980s version as well. So yeah, this is the outside, looking pretty good. You can open the cargo and the door here, and it nicely aligns, which is good to see since I was using the what is it called? Since delivery wasn't originally made for this PBR model, so it's nice to see the line. Not maybe the fanciest stair, but it works. Unfortunately, there's no inside, so that's, I guess, a bit of a negative, but it will do for our purposes. If we then jump inside, you'll see that the cockpit as a whole is pretty nicely done. Nothing too great, though. I think this one could maybe have done with like a David Maltby kind of treatment, with like going with the real look with the 2D panels instead, or you know, keep the 3Ds but then having all the rest 2D, because that does make freeware look better than you would think, I would say. But yeah, so pretty good. You do have some of the exterior model, if I'm not mistaken, so that's pretty nice. You think you have the wings as well, you can see them from here. That's also pretty cool. And let's see, I do think there is or maybe there isn't a cabin in this one. I know some of their versions have from this PBR package has some sort of cabin that you can go into, but this one also has it. A bit creepy though, so maybe not. Maybe that's a work in progress. But yeah, that's about it. Flying to Scandinavian Mountains Airport. We're not using Pack X. I'm not sure there is a a GSX profile actually for this aircraft. It's quite easy to set up though. If you want, you can just go customize aircraft and then, you know, cargo main. You have to make sure it's a cargo airplane, right? Save that, and then you can just kind of quickly set it up if that's of interest. I can just show you quickly. So you get kind of this. Let me see if I can get this in the right place. Then you go up. GSX is really like good in this sense that you can kind of do it on the go. And then you would put it, for example, there. I press usually Y. So now we would have a cargo main without doors. And we can have it on auto. And then maybe I would do a, we don't have a PAX 1, but maybe we have a PAX 4. We can have an embedded stair. And then I would move this here. And now you have a nice GSX profile that should, and bear in mind, it should work. You can double check that it's saved. Good. So now we should just reload by doing restart koa utl, have it rebuild the airport cache, and then we should be able to get it into service. You can see we now only have a IG model, so they look really nice. ASL Airlines on cargo, UPS 767, I think. Yeah, 767. Not that many else. This is the JustSim Oslo, which works really well on my computer. I know some people are complaining about it, but for the price, it's a really nice product. I was a bit negative at first because I don't know, it's like my first landing felt like it wasn't working, but then after that it's just been working basically. So here we can see now, okay, yeah, a bit of a big cargo one, but that will suffice, I guess. In terms of our flight, let me generate it. We only have a -7 profile, but I thought that could be a good one to use. And I don't think we have a fuel planner or similar. I don't think there's any checklist either, so that's always, yeah, that's not the best, but we'll make do with what we have. Okay, so let's put in our fuel and payload. We don't need that much. It's basically saying 4,000, but in order to be on the safe side, let me put maybe 40% will be a good amount. Since I'm not sure how much more this one actually consumes, we're just going to go with a safe number. Our gross weight should be, this one is much heavier than the dash, dash 7. Trying to think if we have any better substitute, but maybe not. Let me put in some cargo here, and hopefully this is not too much. Looks a bit front heavy though. Like that maybe. Hopefully that should be okay. I'm not really sure. There's no documentation with this plane, which I always find a bit sad. Because that is, but let me have a look actually if there is some saved. Because I do think I have the air tankers as well. No, that's just specification. No, nothing with those either. Okay, so we don't really have any documentation. I'm going to take a quick look and see if I have anything saved. I'm not going to look for any if we don't have, but that's a good suggestion I would give, is to generally, you know, the ones you are flying, do take a look. And I do actually have a checklist though for it, so that's nice. From Buffalo Airways Virtual, the one I fly for. And that's actually where the PBR package is from, and I've just tweaked it a bit further to be able to fly some different with some different liveries, right? So that's good. We have a bit of a checklist at least, nothing fancy, but sufficient enough. If we jump back inside, you'll see we have the GTN here. I'm gonna start the boarding while we do that. So we have our XPN GTN, which I have gotten into this. I wish I could get a weather radar as well, because I replaced the weather radar with this. You can see here we have the autopilot panel. This one is the only one I have a bit of critique to, because you can't really see the numbers, but you can use the Shift 4 to get the autopilot panel like this. The only one I'm not a big fan of is the auto throttle, so I'm not going to use that, even if we might have one available from that, because I don't think the real aircraft had one. But yeah, nothing fancy. Let's start the plane. A lot of switches are workable, so that's good to see. The battery's on, avionics master's on, and you'll see a lot of lights came on in the cockpit. The Garmin came on. It's a bit dark though. I wish I could I tried to raise the brightness, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately. In terms of lights, we can put on the nav lights. A bit strong maybe, the nav lights, but could be worse. As you can see, GSX is also kind of nicely set up here. So that's cool to see. It's a beautiful aircraft, this Electra, because it is unique in a way. In terms of other things to set up, God, it was a while since I did fly this. It was a bit of a, I just had some time over today, so I did some liveries for this one. Not from scratch, but by tweaking the files to get them to work. So I haven't actually flown this one in a while, but I think that's it. I don't think you have a APU, but I am wondering, because I'm not 100% certain about that. If there is an APU, where would it be? Or can you connect the ground somehow? Let me see the shifts. Doesn't look like we have anything. Okay, so I'm gonna assume no APU or no ground. Here you can also choose between nav and GPS. I'm not sure if this GPS is actually tied to... I think it should be tied to this one. So let's see if we can follow the flight plan from the GTN. Okay, and let me just bring forth GTN, so we have that open. I'm gonna do the 2D panel just because I find that to be easier. Sorry if that breaks anyone's immersion. So we are doing, let me see, we are doing a procedure. We'll have to hand fly it, but I think that should be fine. We are doing Massa 6D. We can load that. And then after, we are doing a direct to Rojed. And then a direct to Inbes. And then from that one, we can actually insert our airport and our approach. This is a really new airport, Scandinavian Mountains one. It's near a location, a ski location called Sälen, that's really popular. So we can do our arrival here in before 1S, runway 15. That makes sense. That's 19 right, perfect. And then we can do the approach. We can do an ILS. Now let's check if we should vector or not. Not sure what we should have for a call sign. Fred maybe. Fred could be a nice call sign to use. So we'll save that as Fred. We'll import our flight plan. It imported nicely. We will do the SID. I'm sorry, I notice you can't see it now. I'm gonna add it here so you guys can see it as well. We'll add the SID. And then we'll add the star. And then the approach, quite a weird looking star. So, oh yeah, it only looks weird because the airport is there, right? So we would go there. I think we can use KS 85, that makes more sense. 852. Voila. Wonderful, happy days. I'll connect to the sim. I'll change away from the 80s. I'll file the flight plan as well, so we have that. Then I'll move this. We're gonna go to a cruise level of 13,000. Oh, as you can see, they almost put it nicely in. So we just were able to caught the cargo loaders. There he's leaving us for greener pastures. Or I'm not sure where he's going, but somewhere. I guess you can make the routes for these ones as well. I would assume the route would go here, but yeah, who knows. But yeah, okay, so we do the 521. We can load it, we don't activate it. Then we go to map. We check that the approach looks reasonable, and it does. So we have a really nice one. And hopefully our autopilot can follow this. So we'll use this for that. Let's see if I can hide the yoke. No, but I don't think that will be necessary. Let's see, can we have... interesting. You can do nav. What does that show? There we go, now we have GPS on. The hope is that with nav mode, with GPS on, we should be able to follow this one. Let's see. Yeah, personal license, that makes sense. Let's ask for IFR clearance. Fred 4003, ready to copy IFR clearance.
Fred 4003 is cleared to Echo Sierra Kilo Sierra. Fly the Maze 6 Delta departure, with the safe transition, then S5. Departure runway 19.
Okay, let's see what altitude we get, and let's put it so 130, so we get the climb all the way to the
Fred
top.
4003 is cleared to Echo Sierra Kilo Sierra.
And actually I'm gonna use my Logitech panel, because that's gonna be easier.
Maintain flight level 130.
Okay, flight level 130.
136.4. Squawk 5343.
Fred 4003
Squawk 5.
Altimeter is
5343.
when ready for pushback. Enjoy your morning.
So we're putting in the squawk
Altimeter
here.
is 2914 ground on 121.6 Fred 4003.
I wish that this was a gauge. I would have put in the tried to put in at least a Siva ins here, because that would have been cool to fly with this one. But I guess this is some sort of this looks like a INS. So I assume it is one. Now we'll close all of these doors so we don't forget about it. Fred 4003, ready for pushback.
Fred 4003 pushback approved.
Pushback approved.
Let's
Fred
do prepare for
4003.
pushback here. Let's have a quick look. That things do look reasonable here. think the right tanks are on the right settings. They're forward, not off. I'm not sure you have an engine test. Don't think you want to have those. These cutoff ones. Don't know why I was able to open that one but not close it, but I will leave it like that. Let me see if there's anything else. We can do seatbelt signs on and no smoking. Beacon is on. Okay, and he was able to go to the right place at least, so that's good to see. Became one with the plane there, but we'll take that. Okay, let's see. I think this is the best Zoom 5. I think it's quite a good one. I think that's the limit on most kind of GPSs or on the more bigger aircrafts. So I gotten used to it, but you can zoom in a bit more here. Nose, left tail right. Low beta. Okay, let's release the parking brakes. Oh, and I'm just gonna remove that default voice. There we go. Okay, let's see if they can push us back. Yes, it works. Okay, now let's try. No idea what that sound is. Let's try with engine number 4. Oh, sorry, primer as well. So you can see it starting. A lot of these gauges kind of work. Doesn't follow any specific, right? I guess you could press primer and then press start. As you can see, it's up and spinning, looking pretty good. I've seen a lot worse animations. It looks stable, engine number 4. Or at least I assume it's stable. Oh, interesting. So that's something you have to move. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So I guess you do want to put this forward. Okay, we can set parking brakes. Looks good. Let's start engine number 3. I'll confirm so we can just get rid of them and ask for taxi clearance. Fred 4003, ready to taxi. Maybe they are looking okay.
Taxi to runway 19 right via taxiways November, Alpha 9er, hold short runway 19 right Fred 4003.
It's a bit of a loud aircraft. Okay, stabilized enough at least. Let's see, can you open the window on this? Nope. You should have like a flight engineer here, right? I think sitting here actually. And you do have some things like oil cooler flaps. I wonder if we can see where when we trim the aircraft though. If that's shown on some sort of indicator. Maybe here? Yeah, there we see the elevator. Okay, have a good flight. And let me just see if this... Okay, it looks like pretty okay volume. I'm just gonna decrease a bit my own volume so I don't have to listen to these crazy engines. Starting engine number 1 as well. Primed. Brake is locked. We will take the 987 to quite a low barometric pressure. And actually, now I remember actually one of the reasons why I did want to do a flight with this one is that they do have the Orions flying now around the hurricane, right? To measure the wind speeds and that sort of stuff. So that's that was one of the catalysts for me wanting to try this one. Okay, let's have a look. I think it looks pretty good. Let's see if okay, it shouldn't move. Okay, all engines are a go. That's nice to see. Now, let me check if I think you put all of these on, then the bleed air valves, I think you want to open those. Pitot heats, I think these ones go on. We do the taxi lights on as well. I think that should be sufficient. You can see the taxi light, so it doesn't light up that much, but it looks pretty cool, right? I think it would look nice if it was... we can actually check if we change the time. Yeah, so they have done a pretty nice job with the night lighting. I'll give them that. Okay, let's get going. And I'm actually going to check that we are taxiing correctly. Hey, for some reason... oh, there it is. So the taxi route is basically just following this one till we reach the... my god, though, it accelerates like crazy. And I thought we were a bit heavy. Yeah, the taxiing isn't the best. Let me pull down a bit on the... let me check again the autopilot panel. So we do have GPS set with nav. So let's see if it will follow this one or if we'll have to follow it. God, this is not the easiest one to taxi. Now I was just using my... okay, so it's not moving the nose. That could explain some of the issues. Some of these gauges seem a bit problematic. Oh yeah, auto feather should be on. Where do you have auto feather? Da, 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 da. Something tells me it's not up here with these older ones. Maybe rather down here somewhere. Can't find it though, so. Not really helping, unfortunately. The nose wheel steer doesn't seem to be working that well either, so that's a bit unfortunate, but oh well. Look at that beautiful Norwegian taking off. I will say, unfortunately, the exterior is the... Oh, it seems to be some sort of mesh issue here with the airport. Need to have a look at that. But yeah, unfortunately, it feels like the exterior is the best part with this aircraft. The interior is doesn't make you want to come back too many times to fly it. But I mean, if you're a really big fan of the Electra, this I mean, and I looked at the picture, it's not far off, you know, like the general gist of it, it's just the details, right? But let's see, we can take off from here. Let's see if we get that. The clearance, this will be interesting to fly. I think it flies really well though, the flight model. The flight model was pretty good.
Tower on 120.1 Fred 4003.
Okay, let's stop here. Put on the landing lights. Not sure you want to put these on. Any strobe or similar? Nope. Fred 4003, ready for takeoff. Okay, and we got the takeoff clearance. Doesn't seem to be any aircraft close to us.
Cleared for takeoff. 19 right squawking 5343 Fred 4003.
This is one aircraft that someone from Microsoft Flight Sim should develop. I still can't see why it hasn't gotten like any even medium fidelity versions of it. It's a nice classic, right? But it's still a turboprop, so it's not that old, right? We're not talking piston engines. Why are these gauges though moving? The RPM is fluctuating. Let me have a look. Everything else looks good. Now they're not fluctuating, so I guess that's good. Maybe it's just that they are, you know, old school turboprop. Okay, let me see. So I'll move this one. I'm gonna lock it on my right view so I can actually see it once we're flying. Or wait, I'll actually lock it to my... I'm gonna undock the window and put it... and then I'll lock it so I can see it down on my other screen. Okay, flaps. Let's see, where do you see the flap setting? There we go. Okay, that looks like an okay flap setting. I think the trim is fine as well. There wasn't any like takeoff trim, right? So let's use 10. And then we go. That's looking good. We can. Oh, and now the fuel levers were pushed back. Let's see, we can push a bit more forward, 80 knots. Not sure about the V1 speeds. 180 was the V1, according to this Buffalo. V1, rotate. Come on. Yeah, there we go. positive rate of climb. We need to trim this a bit more. Okay, gear up. And we are over 140, so flaps can come in. Flying speed is around 210 to 230. So 1,500 feet per minute should our climb rate be. Right now 240. Now I would want to see if this autopilot actually works. I'm going to move that to another one. And let's see by, so we have a nav on now. You can put a vertical speed of 150. Then autopilot on. Now I want to see if this one works. So we have a vertical speed, can't really see it, it's beneath this knob. We're supposed to be following the nav. I don't feel like it is following it though.
Center on 118.55, take care friend 4003.
What about the normal GPS? Nothing, okay.
Center friend 4003, climbing to flight level 130.
Okay, so we have to manually fly this or use heading mode. That's we'll have to slow down. So unfortunately I haven't been able to get it to yet sync with my that's a bit unfortunate. Could be worse though. I'm gonna remove the autopilot for now. Get us to fly back. Turn quite a bit. We can go to the normal barrow riff. Okay, now we're getting back on the track. So let's try actually to use our heading mode. I don't think I want to turn too much like that maybe. We can put heading mode on. Autopilot. We can have a low kind of climb, 1000. Let's use heading mode most of the time now. I guess this is a more reasonable one, right? You would maybe have like an old school autopilot that you could use, but then you wouldn't be able to connect it right to your GPS. Because I know some of these were retrofitted with GPSs. Okay, we'll just put it so we can see a bit. Like follow them with the aircraft. I'll add a bit more thrust. As you can see, we have a pretty large overcast, probably some of the remains of that hurricane that hit the US and came back all the way here to Europe. Came back, moved forward, moved east. Let's see. Not a long flight we have. Around 30 minutes flight time. turn to 61 degrees. Since we don't really have we can't really see anything, right? There's no sceneries, that's a bit sad. It would be nice to see Orbex Norway. But the aircraft looks pretty nice though, from the exterior, which I guess I've reiterated now about a million times. Well, I'll give them that. The interior though and the system depth isn't the biggest, so I won't recommend it based on that alone. But I will recommend it in the sense that this is the best you'll get with an Electra L-188 until something better is released. And it does, you know, you can fly, you can set up an RXP GTN. I mean, in that sense it's pretty okay. I do wonder to what this one is connected to though. It must be the default GPS. Or at least that's my concern. Okay, it wants us to turn to 8-9. So we'll turn. And that's the nice thing with the GTN, right? It will give you kind of warnings when you should turn. We're soon at 13,000 feet. We're above 10,000 at least, so the landing lights could go off, taxi lights as well. It's interesting though how some text looks really good and then some of these are just really bad. They should have also added like gauges that we just have switched out if you wanted, just like an empty space and add like a 2D gauge. That would be nice. Yeah, let's see now. Does the checklist say anything else? Yeah, you should never go above 364, 368 knots. Cruise checklist 320. True airspeeds 340 empty. I think we're a bit below that, so we can probably give a bit more thrust. Then we'll have a look again. We have an ETA of 20 minutes now, so we have been able to get back some time. And once we do that, we can prepare our approach. Let's see if there is. And we do have an airport chart, so that's nice to see. 1955. And a course of 141. 141 altimeter of 1800. Okay, 141 was the course. Let's put that in. 141. So now we have the course in. Okay, we can a bit slow down now. We're going quite fast. Getting up towards those 350 knots. So a bit of a speedy bird, this one. But I guess having 4 turboprops will do that. It's 2 more than the ATR and the Dash 8. So yeah, you can see we're flying here, there's an overcast. Not the most interesting weather to fly in. So we have the course set, let's see if we have a minimums. Here maybe a radial altimeter. So this one looks cool, right? Because you can see that this is kind of like a 2D panel that they have or something similar that they've inserted. go above that? No. Okay, then we will use the other one. We'll use the 146. Or did this one bug out? Oh, there we go. 1, 4, 6. I think that should be enough. Okay, we're holding our altitude. That's nice to see. Only about 70 minutes left, so hopefully it should be a quick one. Enjoy the outside view a bit more. Yeah, looks like a pretty nice aircraft. I do wonder why they went with an inside cabin, but no kind of inside. They could have just made this grey, this whole inside, instead of black, and that would have at least affected somehow. Oh, here you have the landing gear. That's pretty nicely modeled. What about the other landing gear? Here, I think there's only one there, yeah. So those are not badly modeled at all. Maybe a bit like the Aerosoft A330 ones for Microsoft Flight Sim. A bit squarish. Okay, I'll turn a bit to the left so we're holding our course. You can see we're a bit deviating from it. Zoom out a bit as well. So we're going on our long kind of track now from Masev all the way, where we should start descending soon to a bit lower altitudes, but not yet. Okay, we should go to 110 in 5 seconds. We're getting the transition. If you want to see some nice Electra ops, I also recommend the Ice Pilot series. That one is that one has some really nice Electra ops. Flying like northern Canada. It's really interesting actually. Okay, we're turning now. We can see a bit of the ground through the clouds here. I'm mainly interested in seeing if I have any autogen around the airport. The FS scenery is really, they make really good photoreal, but the autogen coverage and it's generally really good at the more, well, at the like at the more normal or common places. But then once you go a bit outside of those, it can get bad quickly. So let's see. Let's see. Ooh, did they want us to descend already, or was that just a expect? We shouldn't really have flown with the SIDS and stars, since we don't really have a GPS able to fly SIDS and stars, but Oh well. We're doing it the manual way. What else do we need to do here? We can check them. Climb straight ahead, 5,200, turn left to light, join holding. Okay, guess we can do that. What else do we need to do? Not much we can do. We just wait to get the descent clearance, I guess. What's our ETA now? 10 minutes. So this is not gonna be a long flight. We're actually in Sweden now, I think. We might have just crossed the border. The outside's still looking good, nothing off. This plane does not have failures, in case you're wondering. Or apart from the pilot-induced ones, I guess. We're maybe heading a bit off with our... So let's head a bit to the left, heading of 357 maybe, so we can get back on track. We should very soon start descending. Okay, and we're getting the...
Descend via the INVE 1 Sierra arrival, VNV's transition to cross AS 852 at or above 4,800 feet, altimeter is 2914 Fren 4003.
Let me see. Okay, descend. It's at or above 4,000. And I want to see if I switch. Does it go into descent? It goes immediately into descent. Okay, so that's good to be aware of. I wish you could have like a separate for the vertical speed, right? So you could set your altitude without setting the vertical speed at the same time. But you can't get what you want. In terms of, let me see, what was the transition? $6,000 feet, so a bit higher than normal. Sorry about that. Let's check if we... touchdown around 110 to 120 knots. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, let's see what was our descent clearance. 4,800 feet. Okay. We will start descending in a jiffy. According to the flight GTN, we should have, or the RxPN GTN, we should have already started descending, so that's not the best. Let's pull down on the throttles a bit. Let's descend to 4,800. We don't have to descend that fast though. 1,000 feet per minute maybe. That should get us to where we want to go. Let's also make sure that we are on top of it with our heading. Really low overcast though. Like there's some clouds higher up, but really nothing. I must say though, the overcast by Rex is 10 times better than the overcast by Active Sky. I can never believe I flew so long with Active Sky, not using Rex in combination with it. Even though it takes some FPS when the really big storm overcasts are on you, the Rex one is just so much better looking. I'm using it together with what is it called, True Sky, Enhanced Atmospherics. So I think that messes a bit with its. I think it's a bit too bright, but it's yeah. Apart from that, it does make the sim look better using True Sky, so I would always recommend that. Let's see now, how long do we have left? 6 minutes. We'll basically do a. So the airport is to our right. We'll go away from the airport and then turn in. And now this one woke up, because I guess the VR woke up, so that's good to see. We need to descend faster though, and I need to slow down a bit more. Doesn't feel like that had any effect. And I mean 0 effect. Do you have a speed brake? None that I can see. I guess you have flaps, but those are maybe not the best. I'm really not sure if the RPM is working as intended. You can put on the landing lights again. Unfortunately, we can't reduce our speed that much more without sacrificing vertical speed. I guess we'll have to sacrifice a bit of vertical speed. We're doing now 1400. I will show it to you, but it's only yellow like that. You can see it here though. We're using heading mode for now. Let's see once we get on the approach.
Cleared for the ILS approach to runway 15 with the KS-852 transition Fred 4003.
Okay, I'm gonna arrest our descent a bit more, see if we can get that speed down. Yeah, we need to turn right to 0518. God, that would be an interesting heading. I guess you could go 80, but not 800 something. Okay, we're turning now. Let's see. We're still descending, albeit slowly. Okay, gear down after flaps 2
Altimeter is
to 150 knots.
tower on 124.45 Brent 4003. Tower Brent 4003 inbound for ILS approach runway 15.
Okay, we'll make a really tight turn. Now we're gonna get into the cloud layers, so we won't be able to see anything.
Approach to runway 15 will call
No
when
visual
established from
references.
final Brent 4003.
Because we're almost at 6,000, let's have a look at the altimeter. 987, so the same as it was in Oslo, or almost at least. Broken at 300 feet. Now this is interesting. Let's see if we can get down to our minimums, right? We'll follow the approach though. I'm gonna activate that. Now I haven't looked if there's any giant hills around this area. I don't think they're that high. They're around 2,000, 3,000 feet, so we can't go lower than 4,800 at least for a while. Now I'm interested in seeing if this one can capture. I'm not sure why we are not being able to slow down more properly than this. That does make me a bit worried for the landing. And we can see the ground now a bit, so I'm actually gonna go a bit on the flaps a bit early, just to see if that can get us to slow down. I don't want to move those in case that close shuts down our engine, right? Let's see now. Now I think the approach mode is activated. So we should be following the ILS. Hopefully quite low, because we can't really see anything, right? So let's see how this ILS on this old bird works. We'll start probably on the taxi lights. We'll flicker the switches. I don't do too much. Okay, we're still slowing down. Let's go into a bit more flaps. What was the landing speed? Was around 110, 120 knots. We're quite okay on the glide slope. Interesting though, we're not on the localizer. I think they usually have to capture a localizer before the glide slope, but maybe there is exceptions to the rule. About 8 nautical miles left to the airport. What did I do there? CDI. Did that change the... Oh yeah, now I put on the GPS. Okay, so it does seem to work a bit, the GPS one. Maybe I don't want the CDI though. I want the approach. Okay, good. So maybe if I press CDI, I'll get the GPS from this one. That's... yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't think of that. Okay, let's see. We're still descending. We'll go a bit more on the... We are gonna ignore the minimums, even though that's not technically correct. But I just wanna get down. We are below the glide slope though, so I'm not sure what's it been doing, and we are going a bit low on speed as well. So let's see a bit. Well, look at that. Does it want us to die? I'm gonna take manual control. I guess it must have lost the glide path when we did when I pressed CDI, right? Let's see if we can get back on it. At least we're not at minimums yet and we can see the runway, so technically we're in the clear. Would have been nice though to see that approach, how it would have worked. Okay, there we have the runway. Let's stabilize a bit. Look on the outside. That looks okay. We are low. We have flaps full. We're a bit low on the speed as well. I mean, we're not descending, right? So that makes sense. Okay, let's start descending already a bit. Okay, let's see. Okay. Minimums, continue. We can crab a bit. Oh, did we already hit? This one was higher than I thought, this aircraft. Let's have a look at that landing. I hope I didn't hit with the nose. We'll just let this one go right to the end. Oh, look at that thrust reversers. That was some intense thrust reverse. Let's see if we have any aircrafts. Doesn't look like we have any. I think those are statics. I think that's Bra, an old Avro RJ, I think. Okay, let's say that we're ready for taxi. Fred 4003, ready to taxi. Well, isn't that lap with no gate available? We have important cargo from Norway. Salmon and raw oil. Crude oil. I think that's the name of it. But okay, so no gate for us. We'll just have to pick one. Let's just do this one here. This one looks really welcome. Hey, there's a gate here. Aviator. Okay, this actually looks like a really big cargo hub. Maybe it is actually. I don't know why I only thought about it as a ski resort kind of place. And I think, let me see now with the bug. And I think this is, you can see there's no tower, right? So I think this might be one of those airports that don't have a tower. It just has like a sort of virtual. Even the ATC can work from home now. That's great to see. As long as it's safe, I am in no way against that. And the engines are being shut off. He seems happy with us. We have no PACX, so I can't see how hard our landing was. That's a bit unfortunate. Or maybe, you know, it's a good cover up to not see how hard it was. We'll do 360. Nah, that was way too far back. We will do 220. That should get us quite nicely on the approach. Okay, so first off, we went totally down. My guess is that we lost the kind of glide slope once we went to the CDI mode. We didn't correct it fast enough, so then we just continued descending. Probably had a higher descent than we should have had at that point. we're here coming in for the landing with our Fred Olson plane. Looking pretty nice around here actually. No complaints from me in terms of the autogen, so that's good news. Okay, we're coming in, we're coming in, we're coming in. We didn't hit anything on the way down, that's also good news. Now let's see, because I thought we were much... it was an okay landing. Not the best, not the worst. Took a while though for us to put that nose down. There we go. Let's see, can you notice the thrust reversers? Is that like even... I can hear them spinning up, but maybe see them a bit. But yeah, overall a short and sweet flight. I do not recommend this aircraft in terms of if you're looking for the high fidelity kind of stuff, but this is it's a good aircraft, does what it needs to do, kind of more for like this sort of short hops, if you really want to fly like an Electra, right, and immerse yourself into that, then this one will do the trick, and it's freeware, so you can't complain too much about that. I don't think there's anything with a higher fidelity out there, at least to my knowledge. I think X-Plane has a similar one that seems to be a P3D convert, or just a worse version. It didn't look that good either, unfortunately. So yeah, but let's see. If someone knows of any nice Electras incoming, maybe from Microsoft Flight Sim, feel free to share a link below. But yeah, other than that, thank you for watching, and have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.